Good afternoon.
Happy Friday.
The elf himself is here, Justin Dilly.
Yes, sir. Yes, Santa. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Just taking good measure of the year here.
Okay. Okay.
We're coming in.
I did not approve that joke, but
I got a big bag of tricks, so I
yep.
do a lot here.
Yeah, let's get Carrot Top on here next. What's going on?
Not much. We're down to the second to last full work day of the year for those who are, salaried employees. For all of our full-time hourly workers, you might have some additional time left of the year, but we're almost there. We're almost there.
Yeah, I'm still slinging software, so I'm here through all of next week.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm
But yes,
working. I'm working too.
yes.
Yeah.
If you're an influencer, a decision maker, you might have some extra time where you can kind of do that.
This is true. I've already
But
done my big holiday travel, so
Yeah, big holiday travel. Have you done your holiday shopping?
most of it. Duty free is a wonderful place to grab holiday gifts.
Amen. Someone posted about some holiday shopping, right? The influx of packages.
Oh yes. Uh-oh.
Walk along the razor's edge, but don't look down, just keep your head.
Watch out.
Finished. Open up the limit.
Dang. Nothing says holidays like some wrestling.
Yeah, it is that time of year where we start to see, ring camera videos of our packages just being slung left and right.
Yeah. Sometimes into lockers and rooms. So it's
Sometimes
not,
in lockers and rooms.
they can't prevent all of it, but that's a great call out from Hello Package on just dealing with this influx during the season.
'Tis the time of year where if you don't have your gift ordered online, it will not make it in time. And little Timmy or little Susie will have to cry profusely on the 25th. Or, if you're celebrating Hanukkah, Harry will not arrive on time. Although with Hanukkah, you sort of have like 8 days to get it right. So I feel like there's a level of give.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a call out that I usually do. I haven't done it this year, but there was somebody in the industry that wrote a book about Santa in multifamily and how Santa gets to your unit if there's no chimney access. It's very cute. So to Timmy and Susie, they will get their packages, whether one way or the other, from Santa.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to begin to explain that, but I'm curious if anyone listening knows how Santa Claus or Hanukkah Harry arrives in multifamily. If you can solve that riddle,
I'm telling you, there's a book on it.
Well, I want someone from our audience.
I'll find it and drop it, and then
I want someone from our audience to come up with it. Yeah. AI answers. No AI answers.
No AI. We'll talk about AI in a little bit, but what's some other big news? Not as
the big man, Jerome.
Not Santa. Who?
Not Santa. Santa for some. If you're buying or selling property, Jerome Powell is essentially thrown up deuces. He's trying to leave his legacy here. He is likely going to be leaving. Well, I believe he is. His term is over next year. He's going to be replaced. And he threw up deuces with the third interest rate cut of the year. There's a little bit of dissent back and forth. It's just kind of interesting. Normally when you have 9 people getting together in a room, you want them to all agree. But there was some hawkish and dovish opinions here. So there were some, uh, you know, some regional presidents of the Fed were interested in increasing the rate cuts to a half or 50 basis points, and others said, nope, we should stay strong.
Yeah.
So this is a nice little chart, thanks to CNBC, just kind of pulling up where we are right now in terms of interest rate cuts. So we've, little by little, been making some steps down.
Yeah.
And, in general, this is good news for multifamily, right?
For sure. Definitely, maybe not expected, right. But welcome, I think, for a lot of folks, are potentially welcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was big. That was news. AI was in the news again, like it is almost every week, right, in our industry.
Every week. Although I will argue, I think the conversation is starting to change. And this is the exciting thing about, we're what, like 3 years in to ChatGPT, something like that. 2 years, 3 years? I don't know. Well,
Three, I think.
I think we're 3 years in at this point. I've been giving them just enough money, to figure this out. And I'm sure our guest will be able to answer this question for us. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, maybe he'll leave me in the dark. But AI is now starting to guide a lot of the decision making in commercial real estate and in multifamily. And for those who are tip of the spear, they're solving lots of problems internally and externally using AI, starting
Right.
to.
I think, the different content on it, it kind of is more diverse. It's more specialized than what it was initially, which was, hey, we got to use AI. It's going to help you do this. Now you're getting people talk in very specific ways. So some companies and organizations are using it for particular they're using it, that tool specifically, whereas someone else is using it completely differently, and you're kind of hearing what are best practices for different folks, different kinds of personas, like where you are in a company, what department you're in, all of that. And everyone's is in agreement that you need humans to use it, and that you need critical thinking, and you need the people that are going to be able to understand it to really thrive in the AI world.
Well, let's, with that said, why don't we bring on our next guest
Yeah.
who definitely passed the Turing test.
What's up, guys?
So,
Hey,
welcome.
Happy Friday, Jonathan.
Happy Friday, Justin and Eric. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on.
Of course.
So, Jonathan, you've been in our feeds, and I'm sure a lot of people's feeds for the last few months, if not year. You've been building a lot in public, but I would love to know what you do for a day job. What's your day job?
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully I'm not annoying your feeds because there's a lot that I put out there. But so I've been in the real estate private equity space as an asset manager, mainly focused on multifamily for almost a decade now, a little over a decade. And my story, I think, is pretty unique. I was not a tech person. I'm still not. That's the beauty of AI, which we'll get into. But I'd say 4 years ago, so much of our industry started chasing all this technology, which was great. All these different options flooded the market. And I, as an asset manager, a decision maker, under the guise of this is going to make my property teams, my site teams operate so much more efficiently, signed up for everything. Oh, you've got a nice flashy dashboard for leasing, for collections, for maintenance. I signed up for everything, only for a month or two later, my site team's calling me saying, what the heck, John? Now I've got 20 dashboards. I don't know how to use any of this. My life is so much harder. So that was such a big lesson for me. And I became obsessed, and still am, with prop tech, with technology as a whole. And really over the past year, AI and how that can not only help my site teams, but me specifically as an asset manager. So it's been a wild couple of years. The past year, yes, it's been a little over a year that I said, you know what? I'm going to just start posting on LinkedIn, not with any purpose. I just wanted to start meeting more people in the industry. COVID hit. I had a kid. I had another kid. I did not go out a lot in New York City. And I was like, let me just get on LinkedIn and start posting. And I went from posting about multifamily design and being an operator and talking about property and asset management to I should probably start using ChatGPT or some AI tool. I was a skeptic at first, and then I just became obsessed with that. And now, luckily enough, I've been able to build a platform. And the goal of all this, and I'll end here, is I waste or used to waste so much time on what I call $2 tasks. I live in Excel. My site teams, my marketing teams, everyone's wasting so much time. And our industry, as you guys know, is so slow to adopt technology. We are tech backwards. I'm trying to bring myself to be tech neutral, maybe not tech forward, but tech neutral. But also, I want to help this industry from a small way. Just learn that this stuff doesn't have to be daunting. Just go out there, start testing things, and see what works, what doesn't. And Justin, I completely agree. You still need a human being in this, which is, if you're scared about it, don't be. At least in my opinion, not yet, because this thing makes a lot of mistakes still, even how
Yeah.
advanced. So that's who I am in a nutshell. But again, happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll start it off because I know Eric has a whole litany of questions. But my biggest one is something you touched on, which was sort of your decision to kind of use LinkedIn,
Yeah,
which kind of, funnily enough, mirrors your decision to use ChatGPT or AI. Like, I'm
yeah.
just going to try this thing. So, what could you tell, like, in terms of the pros of that? I mean, I think one of the things that has been um like very exciting for folks is kind of following your journey and kind of that, not to overuse this word, I hate using it but I can't think of a better one, that authentic kind of like, this is where I am and this is what I'm doing. Like, what have you gained from sharing all of it, all the things you've been sharing with folks?
Yeah. I mean, just to go back real quickly, 5 years ago, I started a non-real estate company on the side. And I used to not post on LinkedIn, I used to comment on LinkedIn, trying to get business. And I saw that just by showing up on people's feed, that I could get some pretty big business from that. And then I kind of discarded, it went away, I shut down the business. But I made the decision after leaving my job a little over a year ago to just get on LinkedIn. And what has it brought me? First and foremost, I've met so many incredible people now who have taught me so much. Said this before: marketers, property managers, prop tech investors, prop tech founders. I now know probably 10x more people than I did before. So the network, which is the most important, the human element of all this, is the biggest asset that I've gotten. I think the other stuff is I started a company, the CRE AI Studio, which is where we teach people in our industry how to use AI, with two other great people who I met through LinkedIn. One of them I've never even met in person yet, which is incredible. So I was able to start a company as well, and really just it feels good to, and you guys do the same. Just get your thoughts out there, whether or not people agree with it or not. It's such a creative outlet for me, and I always, and you use this word authentic, I always try to be authentic, because especially early on when I was just starting on LinkedIn, there is so much fluff on that platform, and there still is loose,
We probably add to the fluff.
No. You got two hats on. You guys are giving us all this data. You guys,
That's called fun, Eric.
yeah,
not
that's
fluff.
fun, right, Eric?
All right.
Anyway, there was so much fluff. I was like, you know what? If I'm going to post, 99% of my stuff has to be practical, useful. They could take something away from it, as opposed to these inspirational quotes and small little comments that don't really do anything. So I tried to be useful, and I think that's resonated. I hope.
I think it is, Jonathan, because I've been following what you've been doing. You've been really building in public, and what I mean by that is you've been talking about an issue that you've come across, whether from someone else or just with your job, and how you've gone off to solve it. Tell me a time where that's happened. Like, give me a good example where there is an issue internally and you're like, well, I think I can fix this. Maybe walk us through the steps of what happened.
Yeah. So first and foremost, using AI is definitely, it's building muscle. Like even just yesterday, my analyst who sits next to me, he's like, I wish I had an analyst because I'm in Excel and I have 80 tabs and I have to do X. I'm like, you forget who you're sitting next to. I'm offended. Let's use AI to do this. And we did it in 2 minutes. But I think the biggest thing, I don't know if I have like a crazy example where this saved me $1 million and it did X, Y, and Z. I think a big one for me, which I shared on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, and I kind of mentioned before we started, I spent a lot of money with third parties on this is a good one, on dashboards and different things. As an asset manager, especially now, I'm a head of asset management at a company called Peak. We've got about 80 properties in New York City. There is so much data. And every once in a while I try to be positive on LinkedIn, but every once in a while I go a little negative. And, I don't know if there's anybody from these companies listening, but they know me, they know my brand. The PMS systems, the Yardis, the Appfolios, the Entradas, I hate them all. We need them. They have all of our information, but they silo all of that. They charge you for all of it. And for years, I was trying to have a dashboard external to Yardi, where I could have all this information live. And everybody said, John, that'll be 50 grand. Oh, that'll be 75 grand plus $1,000 a month. And we weren't going to spend that kind of money. 6 months ago, I built a dashboard myself using a company called Base 44, which I pay $100 a month for. And I was able to get the API keys from Appfolio for $1 a unit. Thanks to Appfolio for that. And now I have a dashboard that tells me exactly what I want. I didn't spend 50 grand on that. I spent $100 a month for that. So something like that, all this data living in a Yardi, now an Appfolio, me not being able to access it the way I wanted, taking an AI no-code tool for relatively small price per month, using that to build a pretty sick dashboard that now is connected to Appfolio, I now can make a lot higher level, smarter decisions because of that. So it's something like that that has been a really helpful thing for me as an asset manager. And just, again, the mindset that if I could think it, I could try to build it, and I could potentially get it 80% of the way there. And then I could find a really tech person to help me get it to 100.
Yeah, I love that. As the ancient elephant in the room working for MRI, I think what's nice about what you're seeing is where you're going and where people like you are leading the industry, and where I see even some of these old PMS systems, moving toward, is away from the dashboard, which exists, but make it that discussion, which is really what you want is out of AI, so that you're not having to pull all the levers and be the wizard behind the curtain, but you're able to just query in an intentional human way, and be using the right AI tools, be able to get that information, which I think is very smart.
So real quick, here's the authentic part to me, but this was because I forgot. Here I'm talking badly about the PMS systems. How do I forget that you work for MRI? Sorry about that, but I'm authentic. I got to be real.
And I have to be real and call it out, which is, again, to your point, if you're a leaner company and you're starting up, it's much easier probably for your company to migrate from Yardi to Appfolio and to other platforms than for some of these other companies that have been around for decades and decades and decades to migrate. So we're all in this together, and I really believe that. And there's no like one best like silver bullet, but I do think where you're headed is in the right way, which is, stop paying for each report, stop paying for each customization, because we all want customization, we all want bespoke. And so AI is going to be the method in which that happens.
Right. Absolutely.
Little by little, it's going to democratize things. And certainly there's plenty of people probably inside these large organizations who also want that for their customers, because that deepens the connection and ultimately makes them want to use your platform more than another one. So for example, if they do acquire a company that's using, another PMS, they think, well, how quickly can we get this to this other one that's, got this allowance for us, that allows us to use our data inside of our own, dashboards that we created internally.
Right. I think that's such a great point. The people who I do speak with at the PMS companies, everybody wants that. They all want to try to build code, build features for the end users, the property management companies, the investment companies, et cetera, to give a better result. So I don't mean to give off the impression that I think they're evil and they're not trying to do these things. They are, but I do understand how hard it is for a legacy company, probably like an MRI, definitely like a Yardi, to add in all of these features. But I'm encouraged by the dialogue that I've been having with these companies and the willingness and them seeing the need to actually add these features in. So I think the next couple of years are going to be incredible for this industry from a tech perspective. We've all learned a lot over the past couple of years. Now it's just with an AI perspective, empowering people to take that leap themselves, but then also helping them find the right companies that you're paying $2 a unit for or $3 a unit for that are actually doing the right job, that are solving a problem. So I'm very excited for the next couple of years.
That's good. Well, I will ask you, because we're little by little running out of time here. What are some of your predictions for 2026 for someone who is quite deep into AI?
I think 2025 was such a learning year. I mean, for me, obviously, but for the industry, and you guys alluded to this when you opened up, there was so much information, and there still is, on AI. People were just kind of starting to understand what the parameters were. Now individuals are really starting to test things out. I think the individuals being strengthened by AI is only going to accelerate in 26. But I also think, and I think more importantly, companies as a whole are going to start taking the leap as well, because that's everybody who I talk to on LinkedIn within our community that we've built. Everyone's like, John, it's great that I know how to use ChatGPT projects and I know how to do this, but how do I do this at an enterprise level so we all as a firm can do this? And we're not there yet, but I think 26 is going to be a big growth year for that. So I'm excited for that.
That's awesome. And I'm assuming they can learn a little bit about that at the
Yeah,
CRE studio.
the CRE AI Studio. We've got over 250 members. Thank you for that call out. Appreciate that. We started a few months ago, and it's been incredible. Just courses and Slack-like chats and live events and things like that. So we're doing a lot of cool things in there.
And shout out to your co-founders if you want to shout them out by name right now. Yeah.
Yeah, Nadine Ezzy and Topher Stevenson, two very talented people who I met through LinkedIn. I mentioned this before. Topher, I've never even met him before in real life, but Nadine and I finally met a couple months ago. But I think it's pretty awesome what we're building together to uplift the industry. So
yeah, and it definitely is, and like we value your POV and what you're building, and there's a lot of problems to solve, and we need lots of people to figure these things out.
I appreciate that, Justin. Thank you.
Thank you. You're on mute, Eric.
Uh-oh.
That I am. Thanks for coming on, John. Appreciate you.
Yes.
And Merry Christmas.
Weekend.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Yes.
Thank you. Same to you.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's rock through it.
All
You've
right.
got this, right? This is all you.
I got a couple of them. So first
right,
one, Spaceless was acquired by Relink, which is a Grace Hill solution, expanding kind of the Grace Hill footprint for sure. That's big news. HUD, you got this one?
Oh yeah. HUD is basically pushing pause on their energy efficiency updates. So once again, the government is giving a break to those people who need to adhere to new standards. Imagine that. Those people who procrastinate end up winning again.
Yeah. Multifamily Breakfast Club. If you don't know this organization, give it a follow. I was able to attend both of these events this week, Philly and Atlanta, where Ishia Shepherd and Dr. Debbie Phillips spoke. Dr. Debbie Phillips spoke about, using your gifts going into 2026. Ishia spoke about grace and grit. It was really great. We got to tour properties. We got to connect. I really enjoyed it. It was my first time this week going to any of those. So good stuff. And
Awesome.
lastly, in a good feel front is Scotty Knight posting about this time of year, awards and celebrations and all that kind of stuff, and saying 2025 successes, are being thrown everywhere across LinkedIn. But the reality is it was a hard year for a lot of
Yeah.
people. It's, whether it was finding work, whether it was succeeding in work, the economy, there was a lot of question marks. So he was kind of saying, give yourself grace if you kind of towed the line, if you kind of survived.
Yeah. Yeah. It's for those of you out there like Scotty who understand what it's like to hold the line, which we have a visual reference here. Yeah.
Another great use of AI right here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Scotty
Now,
will love that.
initially, I was thinking a little bit more like a singer when I heard about Scotty holding the line, and I thought walk the line. But I think these are two different.
That doesn't remind me of singing. It reminds me of something else.
This is something else. I can't put my drink on it, but we're
Goodness.
just having some fun here. So,
Yes.
anything else in the industry that needs a shout out, Justin?
Well, Apartmentalize definitely shook some boots, made some noise. You either received, if you submitted to speak at NAA next year, you received a rejection or an acceptance. People were posting about it. Yay to the folks that have been selected and then are getting geared up to be in New Orleans for that. And for the folks that were denied, there are people that post about it, their feelings around it. Sometimes it's frustration. Multifamily Media Network is extending the stage, opening up a platform to kind of share, for people to share their content that won't be at NAA. They're going to create ways to have open mic for the things you wanted to talk about. And that's great because, as we were talking with Jonathan, like the more voices, the more ideas, there's a lot of problems to solve in the industry.
Sure. And just a shout out to NAA, even though I got coal in my stocking, they provided great feedback. I mean, ultimately the feedback is important. Just getting a denial kind of sucks. And, you go back to the drawing board, but getting the feedback from real people who read through the decks and the presentations, like that is critical. And having the rating system and understanding where you sit in the rating system is also important. So really huge shout out to NAA. I don't know how long they've been doing the rating systems for, but this is great for folks who, may have a warmer fire thanks to coal in their stocking.
And finally, to wrap all this together in one beautiful video that was created by AI, and the music was created by AI. And I will say, knowing music helped me create this song, but we have a little holiday-esque carol. Imagine that the three of Jonathan, myself, and Eric are singing this NAA carol to celebrate this episode.
Do you know the way to NAA? It's time for fun and learning all day. Tech and trends ignite the scene. In apartments made it green. Folks all gathered in their best. In the city, we are blessed. Do you know the way? Do you know the way? I found folks play. Do you know the way? All the way.